We have a very important NFC West matchup as this is a must-win game for both teams if they want to still make the NFL playoffs. We have the Los Angeles Rams taking on the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. This is your Week 15 2024 prediction and preview video. Hit subscribe if you're new. Also hit the like button. Let's start with the home team, the 49ers. This is not the first time these two teams have faced each other. I'm going to talk about what happened in their previous encounter and talk about what happened last week for both respective teams. Like I mentioned before, let's start with the home team. The 49ers last week, they went out there and they took care of business against the Chicago Bears. No Nick Bosa, no Trent Williams, no Christian McCaffrey, no Jordan Mason, no Brandon Ayuk. No problem. They went out there and they beat the hell out of the Chicago Bears in the first half. You saw the 49ers have over 300 yards total to just 4 yards for the Chicago Bears. They won this game 38-13, and Brock Purdy on the day was phenomenal. He was 20 of 25, 325 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns to 0 interceptions. Isaac Guerendo, 78 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. He averaged 5 yards a carry. And I am worried about the rushing attack in this game. The reason I'm worried about it is because Isaac is questionable. He's dealing with a foot sprain right now, and he's day-to-day. This is not your typical situation. This is a short week game. This is a Thursday night football game. And you look at Trent Williams. He wasn't able to play against the Chicago Bears. You look at Nick Bosa. He was not able to play either. Both of those guys will be essential in this matchup. In this game against the Los Angeles Rams, you have to protect Brock Purdy and score in the red zone. And the special teams is going to be a huge factor in this matchup also. The last time these two teams went against each other, it was in Los Angeles. And the 49ers lost that game 27-24. And Brock Purdy on the day, he did not play bad. As a matter of fact, Brock Purdy did everything in his power to win that game. He was 22 of 30. 292 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns. Jordan Mason, 77 rushing yards, averaged 4 yards a carry, and Brock Purdy had 10 attempts for 41 rushing yards. In this matchup, you have to find a way to be consistent with the run game and go out there and put the ball in the red zone. You don't want to kick footballs against this Los Angeles Rams team because the Rams are healthier than ever right now, and they just caught fire against the Buffalo Bills. This is a team right now, they're one of the scarier teams to meet in the NFL. But even without those top tier names, you have Kyle Shanahan, you have Brock Purdy, you have a way to go out there and defeat this team. You have to run the football with Patrick Taylor. Hopefully Isaac can play. If he's not able to play, we've seen this in the past with the San Francisco 49ers and Kyle Shanahan, and even with his dad, Mike Shanahan, many decades ago. No matter who the running back is, they always find a way to go out there and be consistent with the run game, and they make those running backs look like stars. And it's not me saying that a guy like Christian McCaffrey is not a good running back, and a guy like Jordan Mason are not good running backs. They're very good in their own right. But when you look at this rushing system, it's one of the best to be in the NFL. Patrick Taylor has to carry the offense at times in short yardage situations, and you have to get the football to Jauan Jennings. Jauan Jennings was the Los Angeles Rams' Achilles heel in the first matchup. And the reason why I bring him up, he's been the most consistent wide receiver since Brandon Ayuk went out. As a matter of fact, you can make the case that he's been the most consistent wide receiver on the team, even when Brandon Ayuk was able to play before he tore his ACL against the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a man in that first encounter against the Rams, 175 receiving yards, 3 receiving touchdowns, and he had 11 catches. And you look at what he was able to do last week. He was behind George Kittle, 90 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. Speaking of George Kittle, he had 151 receiving yards off his 6 catches. They fed him early and often last week against the Chicago Bears. That's a Bears team with an interim head coach and with a terrible situation right now. You're going against a well-coached team in the Los Angeles Rams with Sean McVay and their young defensive coordinator. Find the creases in their defense. It's going to come down to the offensive line. If Trent Williams can't play, you have to keep Brock Purdy upright. Majority of the time when Brock Purdy is able to go out there and have the success that he's having, it's when the offensive line is just giving him enough time inside the pocket. And we've seen this offensive line with Trent Williams not be good on the right side. The offensive line has to win in pass protection against Kobe Turner, Byron Young, Jared Verse, and Braden Fisk. You don't want Brock Purdy to be back there in the pocket all day worrying about his life and trying to run around. Brock Purdy has shown the ability to be a franchise quarterback. In my opinion, he is, by delivering the football into tight windows to Jauan Jennings and to George Kittle. Deebo Samuel, he has to step up. Deebo Samuel in the last 5 games has not looked good. Deebo Samuel has to go out there and make his mark in this matchup. You look at Deebo Samuel last week, only 2 catches for 22 receiving yards. And he only had 13 rushing yards on the day. Expect for Deebo Samuel to go out there and get more carries and have more volume in this matchup against the Rams. Because you may say, hey, the 49ers, their season is done. Not quite. This is a team that went out there. They split with the Seattle Seahawks. They still have a lot of say-so in this division. If they go out there and win out, it's a great chance they can make the NFL playoffs. So they have a lot to play for here. It's going to come down to the offensive line protection and can they run the football enough with Deebo Samuel, Patrick Taylor, and Isaac Rendo if he can play. And you look at this offensive line, I really hope that Trent Williams can play. He's having a tough time right now. And I want to just say my prayers are out to him and his family with his whole situation off the field. His wife involving his 2 kids that died. Terrible situation there. Hopefully he can play in this game, and I wish him nothing but the best moving forward. And the same with Javarius Ward, also who was dealing with a similar situation. That's why he missed a couple of weeks of football with the San Francisco 49ers. And shout out to Trent Williams for playing against the Buffalo Bills and for being a warrior. But I want to see this offensive line be 100%. And if it can't be 100%, at least get the football out quicker and have that red zone offense be better in this situation against the Los Angeles Rams. Hell, you lost this team by 3 points. And I'm going to tell you why this is scary for them when I talk about the Los Angeles Rams, because the Rams were not fully healthy in that matchup. But I like Brock Purdy against the Los Angeles Rams. Brock Purdy has played very good football this season. It's just come down to the injuries with the San Francisco 49ers and the miscues on the special teams, and also with their defense not having the same impact that they once had a couple of years ago. When I look at this defense for the San Francisco 49ers. Last week, they went out there against Chicago Bears and they put that pressure on Caleb Williams. They sacked him 7 times. This is the problem. Nick Bosa was not able to play. And you may say, hey, that's great. At the same time, you're going against one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. Caleb Williams is the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. I'm looking at Leonard Floyd, in this matchup. 8.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble on the season. Malik Collins, Jordan Elliott, those guys have to go out there and put a lot of pressure on Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is at his best when he has enough time in the pocket. And we've seen this in the past. When the offensive line has dealt with issues, with injuries, we've seen Matthew Stafford not look the same. You have to put that pressure on him. And I will even send blitzes here and there, force him to get the football out of his hands and give him different looks. This is a veteran quarterback. He's seen every different look. And Matthew Stafford last week went out there against one of the better defenses in the NFL, in the Buffalo Bills, and put up 40-plus points. He can have the same effect against this 49ers defense if you're not careful, especially with the front 7. Hopefully Nick Bosa can play, but right now as I record this video, he's a game time decision with Trent Williams, and he's dealing with an oblique injury. When I look at the linebackers, you have Fred Warner, one of the best middle linebackers in the NFL. You have to go out there and stop the run. Kyron Williams hasn't fumble prone so far in his career. Very good running back, one of the best running backs in the NFL. Try to punch the football out of his hand. Try to beat him with ball security. Try to force turnovers to get the ball back to Brock Purdy. And that's going to be the name of the game here. The first time these 2 teams went against each other, Cooper Kupp didn't play. Puka Nacua did not play either. And now you have to worry about those 2 top wide receivers and Tutu Atwell. Do not let Tutu Atwell beat you deep, and the same with Puka Nacua. And be careful with Puka Nacua inside the slot, because they can flip around and do a quick tunnel screen, and Puka Nacua has the speed to go down the field and turn it for a touchdown like how he did last week against the Buffalo Bills. And watch out for the play action. This is a Rams team. They love to use leverage. I compare this offense to the Kansas City Chiefs offense with Andy Reid. When they have a lot of motion going around, some of the times it's just eye candy, and they're running the football with Kyron Williams up the middle. Especially when Puka Nacua is going to the left, they just may do a toss play to Kyron Williams just to keep you off balance. And then they'll have a hurry up play, and next thing you know, they're running full motion and they're moving the pocket to the right side, and deep down the field, they're looking for Tutu Atwell or Demarcus Robinson. In order for the 49ers to win this game, you have to put that pressure on Matthew Stafford, and you have to make sure that these wide receivers are in front of you at all times. Nothing deep, nothing cheap. And if you do get beat deep, just take the defensive penalty. You can't risk them going down there and marching up and down the field on a consistent basis, especially if your leader, Nick Bosa, cannot play in this matchup. And this is a 49ers defense that's dealing with more injuries than just Nick Bosa. No Dre Greenlaw. He hasn't played a game since the Super Bowl last year against the Kansas City Chiefs. No Drake Jackson and no Javon Hargrave. You have to be technically sound on the back end, but you have Charvarius Ward, you have Hufanga, who has dealt with injuries majority of this season, but when he's been on the field, he's still one of the better safeties to have in the NFL. You have Jair Brown and Renardo Green and Lenore. Your cornerbacks and your safeties are very equipped to go out there and do their thing. But it's going to come down to the pass rush. Can they go out there, especially without Nick Bosa, and can they mess with Matthew Stafford inside that pocket and make him uncomfortable? Watch out for the quick game. This is one of the most complete offenses in the NFL. But when I'm looking at secondary for the San Francisco 49ers, I think they're well equipped. I'm just worried about that pass rush in this matchup, especially if Big Nick cannot play. Now let's talk about the Los Angeles Rams. They're starting to rock and roll. They've won their last 2 games, and last week was a great week if you are a Rams fan. They were at home against the Buffalo Bills, one of the best teams in the NFL up to this point, and they won the game 44-42. Some will even call it the game of the year. Josh Allen has 6 touchdowns, 3 passing, 3 rushing, and they still won the game. That is how good the Los Angeles Rams were last week at taking care of the football and just getting things done. And it started with Matthew Stafford. He was 23 of 30 on the day, 320 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Run the football in this matchup to make life easier on Matthew Stafford. Even though Matthew Stafford was able to go out there and wheel and deal during the entire day, you don't want him to continue to put the football in the air. And Sean McVay knows this. That's why in the first encounter, when these two teams went against each other, Kyren Williams pretty much led the way. And Matthew Stafford did go out there and he did give them good production. But he had 221 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown. Kyren Williams had 89 rushing yards, averaged 4 yards a carry, 2 rushing touchdowns. Similar to what happened last week. Only averaged 3 yards a carry. That's very low for him. 87 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. When you look at Kyren Williams, he has been a touchdown machine. In the red zone situations, they will put him inside the slot, and they'll have him in the backfield, of course, because he is their best running back right now. You have him, you have Blake Corum. Watch out for Kyren Williams early on. And like I mentioned before, no Puka Nacua, no Cooper Kupp in the first encounter. And you still found a way to go out there and defeat the San Francisco 49ers. That says a lot about the coaching with Sean McVay, because Tutu Atwell led them in receiving yards when they first went against the San Francisco 49ers. He had 93 receiving yards on the day, and Demarcus Robinson had 1 catch for 32 receiving yards. Last week, Puka Nacua looked like the best wide receiver in the NFL. 162 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown, and he also had a rushing touchdown with 16 rushing yards. Cooper Kupp, 92 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown. Tutu Atwell had a long catch that went for 21 yards, 45 receiving yards on the day. You have to feed your weapons and get them the football early. Demarcus Robinson is questionable for this game. It will be great to have him on the field, but he is not needed. Feed Cooper Kupp, feed Puka Nacua, create those mismatch opportunities. Right now, the 49ers are having a lot of problems covering crossing routes against elite level teams in the NFL. Lucky enough for the Los Angeles Rams, you have 2 very good wide receivers that can catch the ball over the middle of the field, and you have a quarterback that can throw deep down the middle of the field. I would not test out the secondary with the San Francisco 49ers. One thing that Sean McVay has done a great job of this season is testing out the linebackers with tight ends and with running backs. That's why Kyren Williams is so deadly in the red zone, because he's so quick coming in and out of his break. You have Fred Warner there at the middle. But you look at everyone else in that linebacking room, they're not the best. Like I mentioned, no Dre Greenlaw. When I look at the San Francisco 49ers linebackers, they're weak there right now. And it starts with Devondre Campbell. You can run a lot of end-around plays on the 49ers, and you can see a lot of good production. And we saw this last week with Puka Nacua and with Cooper Kupp. You may not know Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua for their speed, but they have enough speed to go deep down the field, and it can cause you problems, especially moving from sideline to sideline. And we've seen this in the past against the Minnesota Vikings. I like the skill set of Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp because they both give you something different, but at the same time, they're so freaking similar coming in and out of their break and how smooth they are with their route running ability. Work off of play action, feed these wide receivers, and target a guy like Tutu Atwell going down the field. And you can also look at it from this standpoint. Tutu Atwell has that speed. He's such a deep threat. He's going to always carry a cornerback or a safety with him because they're not just going to leave him on an island, because more times than not, he's going to go down there. He's going to get a long gain. And it opens up the opportunity for Puka Nacua underneath, and the same with Cooper Kupp. Don't just think Matthew Stafford is a big game hunter. He still is, but he can methodically beat you down the field. A death with 1,000 paper cuts, similar to Tom Brady and how Patrick Mahomes is moving the field right now. Matthew Stafford can do that, and he did that last week numerous times against the Buffalo Bills. Get that football out quick and try to go out there and now scheme the defensive coordinator with the San Francisco 49ers. And one thing that's very fun to think about, Sean McVay has done this before when he didn't have his two top guys. When I look at this defense for the Los Angeles Rams, go out there and hunt Brock Purdy. Now, last week, Josh Allen made their life a living hell. They didn't sack him at all. But when you look at the young pieces that you have with Kobe Turner, Byron Young, Jared Verse, and Braden Fisk, a very good athletic defensive line. They're still young. They're learning their ways. But you have a great opportunity to go back there and put a lot of pressure on a guy like Brock Purdy and make him uncomfortable. I will say this, Brock Purdy on the run, don't sleep on him. He is still a very good quarterback, but you can get him outside the pocket and you can create a lot of confusion on the back end with different looks. That's when you can get Brock Purdy to make some mistakes, similar to like how he did against the Kansas City Chiefs a month ago. I would not run much zone coverage in this matchup. I would run more man. Right now, the 49ers are struggling to beat man coverage. And Jawan Jennings, in that first encounter, the defenders were all over him. He was just making crazy catches, continue to run that same defense. Deebo Samuel, he's struggling right now to beat man coverage. And George Kittle, you don't want to just put a linebacker or a safety on him the entire time. I'm not saying go out there and run man over and over again, just run cover one man and run cover two. Obviously, go out there and flip it into zone here and there and give a guy like Brock Purdy different looks with blitzes up front. But you're going to have a lot of success with man coverage in this one. Kyle Shanahan can scheme guys open, but right now they're struggling to beat that man coverage. And you look at Ricky Pearsall, very good rookie, had a very good play against the Dallas Cowboys. When I look at Ricky Pearsall, he's also struggling to beat that man coverage also. This offense has not looked the same since Brandon Ayuk got injured, and the same especially with no Christian McCaffrey. Go out there, make them one-dimensional. Stop the run and make Brock Purdy do all of the work. Not because he's a franchise quarterback, but just to frustrate him and Kyle Shanahan. In those goal line situations, especially, you have to go out there and run man coverage. Right now, Kyle Shanahan is struggling to score in the red zone, and that could be a huge key in this matchup. While they're out there taking three over and over again, Matthew Stafford can go out there, get you 2 touchdowns. You're up in the game 14-6. That's why it's pivotal to hold teams to 3 in the red zone. Instead of walking away with possibly 14 points, you're only walking away with 6. And Matthew Stafford and crew, I believe this offense is so high-powered, they can go out there and score 14 and 21 points in a blink of an eye. It's going to be tough because Kyle Shanahan is close friends with Sean McVay and vice versa. They know each other very well. I'm not expecting for this to be a blowout, even though the 49ers are dealing with so many injuries. But when I look at the defense on the back end with the Los Angeles Rams, I look at the players that they have. Kobe Durant is questionable in this game, but you have Cameron Curl, solid safety to have, especially in coverage. You look at Darius Williams, very good veteran cornerback to have around. Quinn Lake. These guys have to step up big time in this matchup. Just because the 49ers are injured, the running backs are hurt, they're dealing with a left tackle problem without Trent Williams, doesn't mean they're a pushover. Go out there and play this game like it's a playoff game. Because whoever loses this game, more than likely, you're out of playoff contention. And this would be a great win for the Rams. The Rams control their own destiny here. They didn't split with the 49ers just yet. They already beat them. And they beat the Seattle Seahawks also. They win this game and they win out, they make the NFL playoffs. That's why I'm saying this is a must-win game for both teams, for the 49ers to keep their neck in the race, but especially if the Rams go out there, you push this team out, and you look at what happened to Arizona Cardinals. They just got swept by the Seattle Seahawks. You're shaping yourself up for a great future and a possible home game if you are the Rams. And I look at Sean McVay, Super Bowl champion, has been to 2 Super Bowls. Same with Matthew Stafford. They know this. And also the same with Kyle Shanahan, who has been to numerous Super Bowls, but has yet to win a Super Bowl just yet, unfortunately, if you are a 49ers fan. One more thing about the Rams before I give you guys my prediction. The Rams offense, for the first time in a very long time, they've been dealing with injuries across this offensive line all season long. They're healthy. They're going to give Matthew Stafford more time. They should open up creases, especially if Nick Bosa is not able to play. And even if Nick Bosa is able to play, run the opposite side. Not having Javon Hargrave has been a huge death sentence so far for this 49ers defense up front. With all that being said, this is going to be a fun football game. It's always fun to watch Kyle Shanahan go against Sean McVay and watch him go against his close friends because there's so many chess pieces to watch out for on the field. I do have the Los Angeles Rams winning this game. And I have the Los Angeles Rams winning this game 28-24. And the reason why is because the injuries to the San Francisco 49ers. And when I look at the Rams, they're red hot right now. They've won their last 2 games and they're starting to click. They did the same thing last season. Could the 49ers possibly win this? Sure. But I look at the wide receivers. They can't beat man coverage. That offensive line without Trent Williams, I'm worried about them. Hell, I'm worried about the offensive line with Trent Williams. But let me know in the comment section below, who do you have winning this game? The San Francisco 49ers or the Los Angeles Rams? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Have a great day. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.